Namaskar, I'm Harpreet Kaur and I welcome you all to our live and interactive session. You are watching us on PM eVidya channels 6, 7 and 8 and also on our YouTube handle NCERT Official. Today we are starting a new journey. This is going to be our 7-hour online training program under the umbrella theme of integration of virtual labs for teaching, learning and assessment at the middle stage, where we are focusing specifically on classes 6, 7 and 8. Well, today we are in day 1 of the training session and the topic that we have taken up is virtual labs need perspective and scope. There is going to be a lot more content here in this session, which is very important and relevant because it is important to understand the theoretical aspect first and then switch on to the practical one. I'm sure you must be having a lot of questions and a lot of curiosity regarding today's session. So you can also be a part of today's session. Please take down our phone number. This is 8800440559. You can also reach out to us through our email ID, which is diksha.training@cert.nic.in. And since we are streaming live on our YouTube handle NCERT Official, you can always go to the comment section, put in your questions there, your suggestions, and get in touch with us instantly. Since it's a training program, there is going to be an assessment also which you can attempt, and if you attempt it successfully and score more than 70%, you will be granted a certificate. I will share all the details with you after the end of today's session. Now it's time for me to introduce you all to our experts for the session. We are joined by Professor Indu Kumar. Ma'am is Head of Department of ICT and Training Division and National Coordinator of Diksha from CIT NCERT New Delhi. Now a very warm welcome to you. And we are also joined by Dr. Praveen Bobby Binja. Ma'am is Associate Professor from CIT NCERT New Delhi. Ma'am, a very warm welcome to you too. Now, this is one very important session where we are going to talk about the perspectives of National Education Policy, NCF, and other theoretical aspects about this entire training program. So it's going to be one foundation course for you. Now, I have this very first question for Professor Indu. Ma'am, I would like to ask you that National Education Policy 2020, it always lays down strong emphasis on the integration of technology in education, be it education for any particular subject. Now, I want to understand about the key technological thrust areas that are highlighted here in this context.
So this is a very valid question when we are discussing technology in education in the context of virtual labs. And yes, you are rightly mentioned that NEP 2020 emphasizes the use of technology for teaching, learning and assessment and for many other purposes. So here we can discuss some of the key areas where technology need to be integrated in education. So if we look at the slide, so we can see what are the different purposes with which technology need to be integrated in education. So first area of importance which NEP emphasizes is teaching, learning and evaluation. So we as educators, so these three things are mandatory for us to do. One is teaching, another is learning, because we are also a constant learner and we ensure learning for our students as well, and assessment of learning is also important. So teaching, learning and assessment, these are the three things which are aligned with each other. So technology need to be integrated for teaching, learning and assessment. That is one technological thrust area that NEP emphasizes. Then enhancing educational access. So access to education can be enhanced with the use of technology, because India is a vast country and we need to have content customized for the local specific need, and that content also need to be accessible. So this NEP 2020 emphasizes to make educational access seamless for our stakeholder, and that is why it talks about development of portals and apps and a lot of repositories using which educational content can be made accessible for our stakeholders. Then it also talks about removing language barriers. So, India is a vast country, it is also a multilingual country. There are more than 1500 languages and dialects which are spoken in India. So, one language, a medium of language is not sufficient for the delivery of educational content, be it with the use of technology and be it with by the teachers in face-to-face setting. So, that is why technology should be utilized for removing language barriers. We need to harness the potential of AI for translating the content in multiple languages, so that content can be made available in multiple languages and it reaches the last mile child. Then it also talks about supporting teacher preparation and their professional development. As we know that India is a populous country, we have surpassed China, and so is applicable for the population of teachers and students in this country. We have a vast population of teachers and students and large number of schools and teacher education institutions are also there. So, whatever new happens need to be integrated with teacher preparation and their professional development as well. So, scaling up newer knowledge to teachers is one of the essential area that we need to be worked upon. So, cascade mode and reaching out to teachers in a face-to-face mode is not a done thing in the context of India, because scaling up becomes difficult through face-to-face mode and also cascade mode as well. We cannot scale up using the cascade mode. So, that is why we need to develop robust courses for teachers, so that they can be disseminated through online and teachers are acquainted with newer knowledge and their professional development happens continuously. Then increasing access to Divyang student. So, India is a country where there is a large population of Divyang or challenged individuals. So, we need to harness the potential of assistive technologies for reaching out to Divyang children as well, and we need to have customized content for Divyang students. Assistive technologies and customized contents are two areas which need to be focused upon for the education of the young children. Then streamlining educational management and administration. So, our school leaders and the management professionals, they spend a lot of time managing and administering things. So, we need to harness the potential of technology for educational management as well. It is not true in the context of one single school or one single area, but the initiatives like Vidya Samiksha Kendra, they make sure that we get data about the gaps and problems of education, and a targeted intervention need to be done, so that the problems need to be taken up at higher level and they can be addressed strategically with the supported by data which is there, which provide evidences of the kind of problem our system has. So, that is how we can harness the potential of technology for policy makers, for school leaders and for the proper management of the system. Yeah,
Right.
so these are some of the thrust areas which NEP talks about.
So, ma'am, we can safely say that NEP 2020 hasn't left any area untouched. Now, we all know that technology has become a way of life and it has brought radical changes in teaching and learning, especially post-COVID. Now, I want to understand the major recommendations of our new education policy 2020 for promoting digital education across various stages of learning. And in this journey, since we're talking about middle stage, but what about in general?
Yeah. Yes, that is also a very valid question. Ki, what are the specific recommendations of NEP 2020 for online and digital education? So, let me mention here there are two chapters in NEP 2020 which talks about online and digital education, and those chapters are chapter 23 and chapter 24. So, whosoever is working in the area of education, they need to read these chapters also to thoroughly understand what are the recommendations and how online and digital education should be implemented and utilized by the stakeholders. So, the very first recommendation is digital infrastructure. If we want to integrate technology, there should be a proper infrastructure in place. Until and unless we have infrastructure, we cannot implement digital technology or online and digital education. So, there should be a bare minimum infrastructure across country for school education. Then it also talks about portals, apps and tools. We need to harness the potential of the portals, apps and tools for the integration of technology. We need to have repositories. When I am talking about portals, so we need to have repositories, we need to have specific apps which addresses these specific areas of educations, and ICT tools also need to be utilized and developed also. Then there should be quality digital resources as well, because if we talk about online professional development of teachers, we need to have quality resources for teacher education. If we talk about curriculum aligned digital resources, we need to have quality curriculum aligned digital resources. So, development of digital resources is another thing that NEP recommends and we need to focus upon. Then we need to harness various technologies which are available, which are out there, because overnight we cannot change the infrastructure of the entire country, but we have the existence of various technologies. We have internet, but internet we can't say that it is to the reach of everyone, and that too in the proper bandwidth. So, for those areas we need to harness the potential of telecast and broadcast technologies. So, we have to look at that also. So, radio and television also need to be utilized for the dissemination of contents. Then e-governance and management is also very important. I just gave an example of Vidya Samiksha Kendra, which is very important and a relevant initiative for e-governance, because we have data for every thing by implementing VSK in the entire country, and we can identify gaps which are supported by real data. Then online assessment and examination is also one of the area which emerged out to be important during the time of COVID-19 pandemic, because somehow we managed to disseminate content, disseminate education using various tools, using various video conferencing and other facilities which are there. But how to assess the children and the stakeholders who are learning online. So, that was one of the challenge which was faced during that time. So, now NEP 2020 recommends that online assessment and examinations need to be focused upon. We have to develop a robust system of online assessment and examination where there is no learning loss for children who are learning online. Then building digital competencies of students is another area which NEP talks about. There are always hindsight of anything new that we implement, and technology, it is true for technology as well. Technology has its benefit, but we need to learn about several do's and don'ts of technology. We need to be safe in cyberspaces. We need to know the etiquettes if we are in cyberspaces. So we need to learn those cyber behavior as well, how to behave in cyberspaces. So these digital competencies are essential to be developed among the students, because they are acquainted with handling technology, but they need to keep themselves safe and secure while they are using technology, and it need to be taken care of. Then content pedagogy and technology integration and use of assistive technologies is another area that NEP recommends. If we know our content in isolation and we don't know appropriate pedagogy and technology, then we are not able to create a technology mediated learning experience which helps children to learn. If we know pedagogy but we don't know content, that is also not a balanced scenario. And same is true to technology as well. If we are technology proficient but we don't know our content and pedagogy, then also we cannot create a meaningful learning experience for our children. So we need to understand a proper blend of content, pedagogy and technology for a seamless and useful learning experience which leads to the achievement of learning outcome to the fullest. And for the young children, for the children with special needs, we need to harness the potential of assistive technologies. Then it also need to be utilized for teachers and teacher educators. So they also need to be proficient in technology, and their preparation and development should also include the knowledge in educational technology and ICT. Then laying down standard is one very important area that NEP recommends. If we are talking about quality digital contents, if we are talking about development of digital repositories, if we are talking about harnessing the potential of telecast and broadcast technologies, we need to set a standard for everything. What a quality digital resource look like, what a quality online course look like. So we need to set those standards to be followed by the larger population and stakeholders which are out there. Then intensive research in educational technology is also one of the important area which NEP focuses upon. In this era of technology, the development is technology is happening at a very rapid pace, and there is a disruptive impact of technologies as well. So to foresee the future of technology and its integration with the education, we need to have proper research based for everything, what will get redundant and what new technology will emerge, so that we can make ourselves acquainted with the future needs, keeping in view the technological development. So these are some of the areas where NEP recommends about the proper use of technology.
Well, ma'am, you have extensively explained about all these areas, and I think after learning about all these areas, recommendations, nobody can deny the use of technology in education. And I think, ma'am, NEP 2020 also has some policy perspectives in place for virtual labs. What about them?
Yeah, I think yes. Yeah, these 5 to 7 days we are spending on the use of virtual
Right.
labs for the middle stage.
True.
So we also need to understand what NEP talks about the integration of virtual labs into education. So it is important for technology use and integration, where there are abstract contents to be learned by the students. Then it also ensures equitable use of technology, because access to lab is not there for each and every child, and there are a lot of content which need the lab experiences for children. So if we have virtual labs in place, we ensure the equitable use of technology, because technology is available to all. So there is no deprivation for children in accessing the virtual labs. So extensive use of technology in learning is one of the recommendation of NEP 2020. When we disseminate and develop virtual labs, then we can ensure that also. Then content creation, digital repositories and dissemination is something which NEP talks about, and the same is true for developing virtual lab based content for school education, and placing them in digital repositories and their proper dissemination. So it also ensures blended mode of education, because it will blend online and real time engagement with children, because labs are also available online. So teacher can blend these labs with her lesson plans. Then it also addresses the digital divide, because the content is available for each and everyone. So that is how we can harness the potential of virtual labs from the point of policy perspective, and ensure all these aspects.
Absolutely, ma'am, because NEP 2020 is a very extensive document, and as far as virtual labs are concerned, it has clearly specified why these labs are important, because we want to address the issues of equity, equality,
Right.
inclusivity, digital divide. We need to bridge that gap, and also reaching the last mile learner is the only purpose of educating all. Now,
Right.
Dr. Parveen, after learning about the theoretical component of virtual labs, that yes, they need to be integrated, and NEP is clearly focusing on the same. We all want to understand what exactly virtual labs are, how would you define them, and why has it become essential to integrate these days virtual lab in regular classroom teaching scenario, because we are moving away from chalk and duster method.
Okay, thank you, Harpreet, for that question rightly asked, that what is virtual laboratory.
Yeah.
So we have seen that Professor Indu well explained about the technology trust area and recommendation of NEP 2020, and specifically for the virtual labs.
Absolutely.
Also, coming to the features of that virtual lab, you can see that as per that Professor Indu explained that technology ensuring the equitable use of devices, and is merging the gaps between the theory and practices, as well as the young children can access this from anywhere, any place. So this potentiality of the technology that we are integrating in our virtual lab. So virtual lab, that is virtual, is a kind of digital world, and that lab, that is a laboratory. So that physical laboratory is now replicated in the virtual form, or you can say the simulated form. Yes. So we are mimicking the physical world lab in a computer generated simulated world. So this is a virtual laboratory, and we can say virtual laboratory is a computer based activities where the students interact with an experiment or activities or apparatures or other other activities via computer interface. That means students are completely dependent on that simulation or computer environment. Then it's replicate the real world laboratory. So real world laboratory, like that we are practicing lot of activities in the real world, where we are trying to test the theory into practice. So that practice we can do in this simulated world. So here in the physical laboratory we can see that some activities require procedural performance, recording the data and analyzing the data, and after that writing a report. So everything we can done in this virtual laboratory. So this is a virtual lab.
Ma'am, you clearly said it's a replica of real physical laboratories. So I just want to understand from you, Professor Indu, that there's so many virtual labs already out there. What are the most impactful features of Diksha virtual labs, and how do these features enhance learning experience specifically at the middle stage, because this is a time when students have a lot of curiosity in them, they want to explore, they want to try, in fact they're interested in hit and trial method, they want to make mistakes and they want to learn from it. How virtual labs, Diksha virtual labs to be specific, are making all the difference?
Yeah. So, as you have rightly mentioned that virtual labs are available on Diksha, and we have a separate vertical on Diksha as per the requirement of NEP 2020, where virtual labs are situated in this vertical. So, it is important to have virtual lab for the middle school children, because children start learning abstraction from this stage, but there is no availability of such experiences for children in the virtual environment or in the physical environment as well, where they can learn about the cognitive level they are going through. So, for middle stage there are abstract content, but there is no facilities of having an laboratory experience for those kind of contents. So, in that context, virtual labs contain contents for middle school children, where they can learn abstraction in the virtual environment and learn many curriculum aligned simulations, interactive environment, where experiments are happening in the virtual environment, and they can perform them. You have rightly mentioned about hit and trial method. The real laboratories and performing experiments in the actual scenario, in the physical scenario, doesn't allow us to us for hit and trial in many contexts, because anything hazardous may happen.
True.
But hit and trial is also one method. The children also learn by making mistake. We all learn by making mistakes. So, making mistake is not negative. It leads us to actual learning. So, virtual labs provide that environment to children, where they can use hit and trial method, they can commit mistakes, and they can see what happens when they commit a mistake.
Yeah.
So, that is one of the important feature which is there for virtual labs on Diksha, and it has a very simple and responsive interface. It doesn't have very complex navigation. So, that is how middle stage children can learn through this simple and responsive navigation interface. And it also contains a rich content aligned with middle stage curriculum, which is featured by simulations, videos, animations, self-assessment, and also 3D models. So, there is no single type of content. All these varieties of contents are leading towards the attainment of the learning outcome, which is set for a virtual experiment. Then they are freely accessible, scalable, and they are also regularly updated, so that as per the feedback of students, because there is a provision of providing feedback also. So, based on the feedback, we can also update these labs which are available there. Then we can also get real time guidance and adaptation of a learning path, because we are doing the experiment in real time. So, we can get guided also in real time if it is happening with the mediation of teachers and for self learning as well. Then it enables competency based assessment and continuous feedback. Each lab is aligned with competency. And when we are attaining a competency, its assessment is also important. So, virtual lab provide learning and assessment integrated with each other, and we are also getting real time feedback on the learning that we are gathering for us. Then it also supports integration into classroom teaching or remote learning, because teachers, if she wants her students to perform an experiment in the home scenario as well, she can always access virtual lab, demonstrate it in the class in the virtual environment, so that children are prepared to have this experiment in real scenario also. And it also ensures remote learning from because they are accessible anytime, anywhere, and after the school hours as well. So that is how virtual labs are relevant and important for the middle school children.
Absolutely, ma'am. They're cost effective and very convenient to use. And I must say that virtual labs not only tell us what to do and how to do, but also tell us what not to do. Because, you know, when you are in the middle schooling or middle stage, you actually want to explore so many things, and you always want to do what you are, you know, refuse to do.
Right.
I want to understand that traditionally lab-based education is always introduced at the secondary level. I remember as a kid going to my laboratory when I was in 9th standard. But here we are talking about virtual labs in the middle stage schooling itself. I want to understand the logic behind this, that how it is helping or supporting foundational conceptual development rather in the students, because virtual labs nobody imagined at the middle stage.
Right, right. You have rightly mentioned that labs are introduced at the secondary level. But as I mentioned earlier also, there are such content in the curriculum which leads to abstract thinking. And abstract thinking can be supported by having laboratory based experiences. But since there is no recommendation, no availability of labs for middle school children, so these labs are made available in a virtual environment, so that children can learn abstraction and they can consolidate the content which are already introduced in the textbooks. Because abstract content should be supported by concrete experiences when children are in the process of learning how to abstract, how to do abstraction. So in virtual environment that abstraction can be done, and there are a lot of content which need visualization because they are abstract. So a visualization is required for abstract thinking to be consolidated. Like we learn concepts like earth is spherical, but how children see earth in reality,
real life,
they see it as flat,
of course.
So until and unless a visualization experience is provided to them, they won't be able to perceive earth as spherical.
And also real-time application of the concepts that you're learning.
Real-time application of the concept. So there are many such concepts which are introduced but which needs visualization. So virtual labs provide that opportunity for visualization to children. So we can see here how virtual lab brings real concepts to life. So content theory of real world connects theory of real worlds with application, which is one of the important area which virtual labs make sure to. Then they can visualize abstract and complex concepts, like I mentioned
Yeah.
just now, that they can visualize those complex concepts, and then they can consolidate their learning on those concepts. Then availability of animations, simulations supported by voiceover and gamified elements holds students interest and attention,
Yes.
and they can learn in a consolidated manner. They can also revisit a single concept multiple times. They can retry, they can review experiments multiple times to strengthen their understanding, and that possibility is there only because of the availability of virtual labs. It also supports children with special needs through multimodal and simplified content, because same content is approached with various kind of stimulations. So that is how children with special needs can also get the real learning. It also builds 21st century skills which are marked by guided use of technology for learning, and the technology proficiency and using technology for learning is one of the 21st century skills that children need to acquire. Then virtual labs at middle stage also ensure the proper cognitive development of children, because at this stage they are at a different level of cognitive development, because from foundational stage they are moving towards middle stage.
Yes.
And they need to develop abstract thinking, and they need to be supported by that with proper content for abstract thinking, because it should begin from this stage. So these are critical years where students start developing observation they might be doing earlier also, but that observation need to be supported by proper logic, inquiry skill and experimentation skills. At foundational stage they observe and ask questions, so they are at the exploratory stage, but here their knowledge need to be consolidated with inquiry deeply into the concepts and also by experimenting. Then it is a stage where development of metacognition is also there. So the virtual lab provides immediate feedback, which are interactive, personalized learning activities which are supported by metacognition. So that is how development of metacognition is also ensured by the availability of virtual labs. Then strong problem solving and logical reasoning skills are also ensured by virtual labs, because they are solving problems on their own when they are interacting with the virtual labs which are available out there on Diksha. So the availability of virtual labs encourages exploration, that too in a virtual environment. Hypothesis testing, they can test hypothesis in the virtual environment, and analytical thinking in a safe environment. There is no hazard which emerges out of doing experiments in a real world.
Right.
Increased curiosity and desire to explore. At this stage their curiosity, children are curious in foundational stage as well, but here children have a different kind of curiosity where they want real examples
And
to quench
hands-on
their
experience.
curiosity. Yeah. So virtual labs provide that inquiry based learning
Yes.
environment to students, where they can manipulate variables and they can observe outcomes in the real world,
Yes.
because they need real stimulus to to consolidate their learning and to believe that
This exists.
what they are learning
Yeah.
is really there.
Yeah.
Then handle multiple representations. Virtual labs also provide scope and environment for multiple representations, because I am again reiterating it. They provide variety of stimulus like animations, graphs, data tables to aid multi-model understanding. So that is there. Also, virtual lab at middle stage are important for social and emotional development of children, because
Okay.
at this stage they are at a different level of social and emotional development. So, they have a growing need of autonomy and self confidence. They want to become autonomous learners, where they enjoy the autonomy to learn. So, virtual labs provide that environment to them where they can learn with autonomy, they can learn with themselves, they are responsible for their own learning, which improves and increases their self confidence and the responsibility also. They become responsible for their own
Actions.
learning, that too in a
Yeah.
with real time experiences. Then sensitivity to feedback and motivation. They also need to get feedback of whatever they are doing, and
Yes.
they also need to be motivated for what they are doing, how they are learning. So, they do not need to depend
Yeah.
on feedback and motivation on humans. So, that virtual environment is also providing them real time feedback on what they are doing, what they are experimenting. Then they also enjoy learning through collaboration. So, that is the stage where peer the importance of peers in their life is also there.
Yes.
So, here they can enjoy learning through collaboration, they can discuss among the groups, they can perform experiments in groups and learn in a peer learning environment as well. So, it also develops identity and self-esteem among children, because they are responsible for their own learning. That helps develop their self-identity and self-esteem, and virtual labs provide that facility also to them. Then emotional engagement and which enhances learning. So, they get visually rich content, story based simulations and real life context in virtual labs, which increases engagement with the virtual environment. So, that is how they get the opportunity of being engaged with their own learning and being self reliant on whatever they are learning.
Right.
So, in a nutshell, if we see, so virtual labs significant for the middle stage can be consolidated like this, as you can see on this slide. So, there is a pedagogical shift at this stage. We need to adopt different pedagogy for middle stage children, and virtual labs provide that differentiated pedagogy for middle stage children. It is marked by that pedagogical shift as well for the middle school children, because they can get an opportunity to visualize complex ideas, and they can become autonomous learners, and also within a blended situation with the help of children. So, this is the age of cognitive and emotional development. So, they get a lot of opportunities in virtual lab, which nurtures their curiosity, creativity, abstract thinking, and a development of scientific temper is also ensured. Then it also promotes experiential and hands-on learning, because they are handling the experiments in a virtual environment on their own. So, they are getting a lot of hands-on learning experiences where there is an opportunity to repeat also, retry also. So, that is one of the significance of virtual lab for the middle stage. Then promote and build STEM skills in safe and error-free environment, science, technology, engineering, arts and mathematics. So, all these areas are important areas, we call them STEM, because virtual labs are not only for the science subjects, so they are available in social science languages also. So, now we don't talk about science, technology and mathematics, but we also talk about arts as well, and arts also can be learned in virtual environment, and it also bridges the equity gaps, because we know that India is a vast country. There the population is also differentiated. Everything is not available to all. We have haves and have nots. So, it bridges that equity gap also, because technology doesn't discriminate. If bare minimum facility is there, and they are mobile responsive also, one mobile device is there, so they can get access to virtual labs anytime, anywhere, without any discrimination. So, it also in a manner bridges that equity gap, and it also, the one of the very important aspect of it is empowering teachers with innovative teaching tools, because they also get that innovative teaching tools to be integrated with their lesson plans, and giving the group a more engaging learning environment where they can learn through integration of virtual lab in that particular virtual environment.
So, ma'am, what I gathered from this entire section is that technology is playing an important role. It's not just about the customized lesson plans, but the entire pedagogy has been customized, keeping in mind the middle stage schooling children. And also the best part is, you're not only catering to their critical thinking skills, analytical thinking or problem solving skills, but we're also talking about their social emotional development. So, I think this is very innovative, and we know that a lot of content has been created for virtual labs for the intended users. So, Dr. Parveen, I want to understand that this content is free of cost available. It is so important. Is it really benefiting the intended users? If you can share some of your observations or data that we have regarding its usage, then it will be great.
Okay, well, virtual lab having lot of benefits, and is helping teachers as well as the learners also. So, Government of India launched this virtual lab on 29th of July 2022, and I can show you the graph from the day of inception, that virtual lab launch. Continuously the users are increasing, the teachers or students or any stakeholder. They are exploring the virtual labs available in the Diksha platform, and you can see the graph and you can get convinced that how popular.
Please cut to the slide so that we can see the data.
So, you can see how this virtual lab getting popular and accessible to every learners. So, you can see how this gradually increasing that number of users in the virtual lab consumption. Then even you can see this consumption data. The many users taking benefits, many teachers and the students, they are using this data, like Professor Indu told that students are now got independent in autonomy to learn by themselves, and they can follow their learning paths, they can assess themselves, and even teachers can connect to the students remotely as well in the blended mode. So, these are the data you can see how this virtual lab actually benefiting to our teachers and students.
Absolutely. So not only the usage is increasing, the content is increasing, but the queries regarding sessions, during our sessions, are also increasing, because yes, people do want to take advantage of this wonderful technology that we have. Now this technology, or NEP 2020 for that matter, talks about blended education. You also mentioned this word. It talks about physical education. Now I want to understand the role of immersive technologies in making concepts understandable to kids, or especially the middle stage schooling children. So ma'am, please highlight the definition or the importance of augmented reality, virtual reality, how these technologies complement virtual labs and are enriching experiential learning or hands-on learning that we are focusing on.
Yes. So virtual labs are in itself providing experiential learning, because students are able to handle the experiments in the virtual environment. They are able to make mistakes and learn through their own mistakes and see what happens when they make a mistake, and they can use hit and trial method. So that is how they are engaged with learning in the virtual environment. They are experiencing what they are learning. They are experiencing the end result, and how that end result is acquired through a systematic process of conducting that experiment. So that is one thing. You also talked about augmented reality and virtual reality scenarios. So these are also few technologies which are immersive technologies. So immersive technologies are those technology where children get immersed with the learning environment. Why are children so engrossed with the games that they are playing on the mobile apps,
phones,
mobile phones? Because they are immersive. So that immersion we need to integrate with educational content, so that they can immerse in the learning environment and attain the objective, attain the learning outcomes. So virtual reality, augmented reality and virtual reality technologies are those technologies which ensure that immersion with the learning environment. So here in the slide you can see three scenarios where one is captioned, the very first is captioned as reality. Reality is something which we see with our naked eyes, which we see in our surroundings, which we can experience in the physical world. And augmented reality is physical, that you have spoken about, a combination of physical and digital, where if we augment the reality with the physical textbooks. So there are a lot of diagrams and graphs and other contents in the textbooks which can't be understood by seeing that graph or image or content. So they need to be visualized. Like if we are learning about how our heart works, it pumps blood to in our body. So we need to have that visualization. So there are specially designed images. If we scan them through a mobile app, so the reality is augmented and we can see the heart popping out of our mobile devices, and that is how a physical and digital is combined and a learning experience is generated. But in virtual reality scenario, a child feels as if he or she is there in the environment, and they can they can interact with the environment which is there. They can handle experiment in the virtual environment, in the virtual labs which are there. So they can pick a test tube, put it on the fire. So all such things they can do when they are out of that virtual environment, but they can become part of the environment. So that is how we can make use of these immersive technologies as well for the attainment of learning by using the augmented reality and virtual reality
reality.
technologies.
Right. And then there is a clear-cut difference also between the two?
Yes. So, augmented reality is a computer generated perceptual environment and which is superimposed, but in virtual reality we can see it with the use of headsets as well, and without the using of headset we can have a device using which we can point to the experiments which are there with the pointer, and we can interact the learning experience with the learning experience which is there in the virtual environment.
So, now we are left with very little time. So, very quickly Dr. Parveen, please tell us, at least give us the location where we can access these virtual labs, because these are something that has sparked a curiosity in all of us.
Okay, we have talked lots about virtual lab and this theoretical perspective. See, virtual lab that available on the Diksha platform, and you know Diksha is a one nation, one digital platform. You can log into the www.diksha.gov.in. There you can find verticals dedicated for a virtual lab. So click on that, and after that, yes, you can step, you can see a virtual lab dedicated verticals is there. You click on that verticals,
right,
and you can see the list of classes is available there.
Yes,
from class 6 to 12 onwards. Can you click that?
Yes,
one?
yes. So
next,
we will find focus areas first of all.
Focus area, yeah. Dedicated one virtual lab verticals is there, and then after that you will enter in that virtual lab interface. There you will see the listed classes. From class 6 to 12 we have a dedicated lab, and in every lab we have now currently two medium, English and Hindi medium. To as per your need basis you can select any medium, and more than 300 resources available in the Diksha platform.
Right.
So as per the need and the requirement you can click on that one, and where you can just showing you that interface what of one virtual lab, how you will perform. See, all the apparatures are given there, a set of instruction is given there, and in between the process if you feel stuck in the process, then you can get help and you can explore. So in coming session and then coming next 6 days, so the teachers and the students, they will explore this virtual lab, and we will show you subject wise how to explore this content, how you will integrate in your teaching learning process, and also for the students how to navigate through this virtual lab and how you will monitor your own learning. So in the coming days you will learn in details
absolutely
virtual labs in the
and as a last slide mentioned, that it's self-paced learning experience that engaging, immersive in nature, and that is bridging the digital divide, and of course serving as a, I would say, remarkable tool for making education accessible to all. Now with this, it's a wrap for first day's training session where we talked about virtual labs, policy, perspective, needs and scope. And for this entire conversation, for this very delightful journey, I must thank both my guests for the session. So Professor Indu, Dr. Parveen, thank you so much for your contribution to the session. It was indeed an eye-opening journey, because never knew Virtual Lab had so many things for all of us. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that it's a training program which is open for all, so you all can participate in the training session. Very soon, assessment courses will be released on CIET website, so please make sure that you become a part of the journey by not just watching the sessions, but by also participating and attempting the assessments. If you score more than 70%, you will be granted a certificate. Now, this was the session for day 1. What's coming tomorrow on day 2? Let's take a look. So looking forward to teaching and learning at the middle stage tomorrow, and this is the culmination of today's session under the umbrella theme of integration of virtual labs for teaching, learning and assessment at the middle stage. Now a few important updates for all of you. Well, it's about the textbooks first of all, which are available for grade 4 and grade 7 on Amazon, Flipkart and NCERT website. So please purchase your copies from there, and let's take a quick look at the schedule, what's all coming ahead. So here are the topics and class-wise schedule. At 12 o'clock, we will bring you a session of mathematics for teaching, learning and intervention or inclusive classrooms. 2 p.m. is the time once again for mathematics, followed by a session of English at 2:30. 3 p.m. we will bring you a session of Urdu, followed by a session of Hindi at 3:30. 4 to 5 p.m. is time for our online training program. Social media safety is going to be the umbrella theme, and we will end the day with our session Sahyog at 5. With this, it's a wrap. This is me, Harpreet Kaur, taking leave of you, and will join you soon. Namaskar.